one of my taglines is I help cynics believe in, or skeptics believe in true love, whether they're in a relationship or not. And at first, you have to believe that it exists in the world, possibly. Then you can believe it exists for me. And then you can take steps and learn how to go after it. You said earlier you get what you settle for. You also get what you stand for. And what I'm doing is trying to teach people how to stand for having a relationship that they never have to apologize for, they're not ashamed of. Even if your partner drives you crazy, which my husband does, drive me crazy regularly, I never feel like I'm settling. I feel like I can't stand him. I feel like I want to run screaming sometimes, but I never feel like I'm settling. I always know he's the most extraordinary man I've ever met, even when he's driving me crazy. And that's the difference. You know, when you're really in love. And the reason I'm standing for true love and nothing less is because relationships are hard. It's work. It's really hard work. Why? Because you have two different people with different value sets, different histories, different perspectives. And you're trying to make a life together and tessellate these two different worldviews. And that takes work. And in order to make a relationship work, you have to surrender all of the cherished beliefs and truths that you hold on to so dearly. You surrender it on the altar of us, and you allow new truths to emerge that are collaborative and emerge out of the relationship. And that takes a lot of courage. And, you know, I don't want to sell true love as like the hardest thing in the world, but my husband says it perfectly. He says it doesn't take a lot to be in love, it takes everything. And I want to have people equipped so that they don't get overwhelmed. And when they realize that this is a crucible, an alchemical opportunity to transform all your defense mechanisms, your wound driven strategies, your habits that are based on a childhood that, full of fears. Um, True love is the only force strong enough to emancipate you from your defense strategies into your actualized essence and your truest self. And so it's not for the faint hearted, it's a gladiator sport.
And that's one of the things you say that I love so much, right? It's climbing Mount Everest. It's one of the most challenging things you can possibly do. And it's such an important message because it keeps people in the game, right? One of the things that I love about you as a love coach is I have seen and known several couples that would say that they would not be together without you. They wouldn't have gotten married without you. They wouldn't have gotten to having a child without you because they would have given up, because the way that we are conditioned around marriage and around relationship is it's twofold, and you smash both of the illusions. Number one, that you should just settle, right? And so you smash the illusion that settling will work because true love, it has to be a strong enough force between you that it actually will emancipate you from your wounds and your delusions and the things that are holding you back, right? So that true
It
love
has to be
exists and you can
strong
have it.
enough to keep you in the game when every cell in your body wants to run and leave, because that's going to happen.
Yes, and you always say the person is your true love when you can't say no, right? Like that, it's such a
You can't
beautiful.
leave,
You
basically. It's
can't
a trap.
leave. Yes. And on the other side, you smash the illusion that then this true love is like a fairy tale, right? Like one of my favorite teachings of yours is that true love is this universal force. So it's like a diamond prism. And so every shade of emotion and feeling and truth and experience is contained within it. And what that does, I feel like for couples, is it allows them to have their authentic journey,
Hmm.
which pretty much every couple I've ever met, especially couples that got through that 8-year bump and are now in this like glory 10-year plus period, they actually went through some version of hell. They went through some version of nearly leaving each other. They went through some version of incredible challenge. And what your messaging and coaching does is normalizes it, de-shames it, and keeps them in the game. Like keep going. And that keep going is so important. And sometimes in our culture, we don't get that message enough, right? It's like gets hard enough, just bail. And what we don't realize is then you just get to do it all over again with the next person.
Exactly. And I want to highlight that point. I don't, I've seen a lot of couples now coaching for 20 years, and I don't trust any couple, their relationship. I don't trust it until they've been to the edge of annihilation and back. That's how I know they've really mapped the full extent of their differences and their difficulties. And I do see love, and this quote I got from Diane Ackerman, I see love as the white light of human emotion. So when you shine white light through a prison, not a prison, but a prism, it breaks out into the spectrum, full spectrum of all the colors in the rainbow. And when you shine love through a human heart, it breaks out into the full spectrum of all human emotions, which includes joy, ecstasy, delight, happiness, excitement, all the way to sadness, shame, rage, despair, hopelessness. Love is all of it. And so when you say I love you to another human being, what you're saying is I am willing to feel the full spectrum of all those feelings. I'm willing to feel the rage, the shame, the agony, the despair, okay? The hopelessness. I can't tell you. There's been times when I'm in the middle of a fight. This was earlier on, like 10 years ago with my husband. We were in the middle of a fight. We were yelling and screaming. And I was just like, I have no idea how we're going to work. I just burst into tears and I looked him in the eye and I said, I have no idea how we're going to work. I'm in full despair. I was sobbing. And he looked at me and he said, I'm in despair too. I have no idea how we're going to work. And in that moment, I thought, okay, that's it. It's over. We're both in despair. And somehow, because we were both willing to feel and be in our despair, we found each other in our despair and hugged as we were in despair. And then the despair got alchemized and shifted. So even in the worst moment, if you're willing to be transparent and honest and fully be with the sensations, you can alchemize it and find your way back home. And so any feeling you're having, I like to say to couples, my clients, when you're fighting in the kitchen on a Wednesday afternoon and it's intense, that's what love looks like. That's actually what love looks like. It's not some other parallel fantasy dream where we're like all happy and hugging. That's part of love, but that's only one part in the whole spectrum because love includes it all. And so when you're having a difficult moment with your partner and you're at dinner and you're not talking to each other because you're in the middle of a tiff, um, instead of going, "Oh, I wish we would act like couples in love," I would love for the two people to go, you know what? We're having a moment right now, but this is what love looks like right now, today at the restaurant while we're working through our stuff.